I promise you that in this video I would try to give you something that ties the Guitar in Paul's video to Jimi Hendrix. Well, today I think I found a very good connection. Amazingly, it could also tie this guitar to the Monterey guitar as well. At the end of the video I also have another revelation that's highly important in this case. Stay tuned, we will dig into that today. Don't worry, I'm not going back on my previous observations about the current guitar. However, I had a very interesting email from a gentleman we will just call Leigh. He gave me some interesting details on modifications Jimi did on most, if not all, of his Strats. Firstly, let us look particularly closely at the electronics of some pre-CBS Strats. Here are a few photos of the back of the pickguards. In each one I've highlighted these little springs. The significance of this will become apparent shortly when we hear what Leigh has to say. Here is the email he sent me. I think you'll find it most interesting.
Hi, Mike. Now this bit of visual evidence might be insignificant to the vast majority of people, but I think it's worth noting. In Paul's video, it was mentioned that the selector switch was broken. Well, that made me think about something I knew about Jimi, so I did some investigating. Not many people know that Jimi used to do a mod on his Strats, where he would actually remove the spring of the selector, so he could access the 2 and 4 position on a 3-way selector switch easier. So if you didn't know this, then you'd think the switch was broken. Yes. Well, I tracked down internal shots of Justin's guitar, and what do I see? The switch is missing its spring. If this is what was broken and repaired, and it wasn't something like a bad solder joint they were talking about fixing, well, I think it's a bit of a coincidence that the spring Jimi removed from his Strats is missing as well. In all of the videos I've seen on this guitar, I've been shocked how good it sounds, in particular how much it sounds like Monterey recordings. I'm a big believer that the biggest influence on an electric guitar's sound is the electrics. So with that in mind, the only thing so far that I've seen that might, and I stress might, connect Hendrix to this guitar, is the pickguard assembly, due to this little known detail and distinctive sound. Now, did Tappy know this too? Maybe. But if he did, wouldn't he get the decal right too? I'm starting to think Tappy had the remains of the Monterey Strat, which were probably just the pickguard or electrics, after Jimi smashed the black Strat up in Washington, and he sourced parts, and made a replica around the surviving pickguard electrics, to sell on to make a buck or two. Anyway, all the best and I hope you're well. Keep up the good work.
So while the neck and body of the Monterey seem very different to the Guitar in Paul's video, the electronics could well be those from the Monterey guitar. From my last video, we strongly suspect that the Monterey was smashed and burned in Washington DC. Also from that video we know the pickguard was written on by Jimi with a Sharpie, so it can't be that pickguard either. We know the guitar body and neck went to different people, and we know that the body was stolen in 1987. We have to assume that the guitar body was beyond repair anyway, but the pickups and wiring could have been recovered in advance. We know that Jimi was very rough with his guitars. We also know that he and his techs regularly made parts guitars from various bits. If Jimi loved the tone of the Monterey but wasn't fussed about the woodwork, could the pickguard have been removed before he smashed the guitar and replaced with another set that could be destroyed? This is certainly not beyond the realm of possibility. I tend to agree with Leigh that the tone of a guitar is very much tied up in the pickups. When Paul played the guitar, it sounded awesome. He is a great player, of course, but there was something special about the tone as well. I emailed my friend and owner Justin to ask what repairs had to be done on the guitar. It was reported that it was a fault with the switch in Paul's video.
The thing was that I don't know if it was broken as well, so this switch here was broken. Very delicately had it repaired in this shop recently, so as far as we're aware, it hasn't been played up until the last 6 months. since Jimmy left it in his manager's office in 67, 68.
He has replied to me to confirm that the spring was indeed already removed from the switch, so this could possibly be the original electronics from the Monterey guitar after all. Now wouldn't that be a revelation? Speaking of revelations, I promise to fill you in on another at the end of this video. Again, this comes from Brian, the close friend of Bob Levine and Tappy Wright. Here is what he had to say.
It makes little sense that the Bob Levine I knew saw Paul Allen purchase the Woodstock Stratocaster for $2 million in 1993. A very high-profile sale that certainly registered on the Hendrix Insider grapevine. If Bob had a Jimi guitar that could rival that value, why would he hold back from offering it to Paul Allen for a similar price? It makes no sense at all that once famous Jimi guitars were being bought for those new plush rates. No sense that Bob would wait 2 decades to offer the guitar and first sell it for only $200,000. And why do it through Tappy nonetheless? I'm afraid the buzz of owning a real, famous Jimi Strat overrode some people's common sense. Brian.
This is a crucial bit of information. Why would Bob wait a decade to offer the guitar at a fraction of what the Woodstock fetched? It makes absolutely no sense at all. Please let me know what you think. I love reading your comments and I try to reply to all of them. I'll be back soon, no doubt, with more on the Monterey Strat, but also with some videos from the British Boutique Guitar Festival. I apologise to our exhibitors that the Monterey guitar has gazumped the content from that show for a while. I look forward to seeing you on the next one, and in the meantime, you take good care.